Good evening and welcome to Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, coming to you live from our studio here at Adesanwe Kanda in Accra. My name is Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Coming up this evening, Office of the Special Prosecutor drops charges against the Director of KEL Logistics Limited, Albert Ankra, after agreeing to testify as a prosecution witness in the ongoing criminal case involving the former NPA Chief Executive Mustafa Abdul Hamid and 9 others. We will be delving more into this development. Also coming up, Parliament and the Ministry of Finance raised concerns over irregular claims connected to projects under the previous government, One District, One Factory program. The Deputy Finance Minister has been on the floor of Parliament giving details of some of the specific amounts that were demanded. We'll give you those specific details in a moment. And later in the bulletin, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, the DVLA, uncovers a network responsible for the illegal manufacture and distribution of more than 30,000 counterfeit dealer vehicle plates. That's the DV plates. We'll unravel all of this for you for the next 1 hour. We have business and sports at the tail end of the program. Let's bring you the news summaries in a jiffy. Let's give you details of the news summaries now with Christabel. Hello, Christabel.
Hi, Martin. Thank you very much. We begin in Parliament because the Ministry of Finance has declared an end to the systematic plunder of the public purse following the release of a damning Auditor General's report on arrears and payables as of end 2024. Presenting a statement on behalf of the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasiela Tuforsin, the Deputy Minister for Finance, Thomas Nyako Ampem, described a rotten system that has seen 8.1 billion Ghana cedis in public funds flagged over several concerns. The audit exposed a culture of blatant illegality within the public financial management architecture, such as fictitious claims, recycled invoices, forged receipts, and collusion. Away from all of that, staff of the Whole Nurses Training College are demanding the return of some of its infrastructural facilities given the University of Health and Allied Sciences over a decade ago. According to the aggrieved staff of the Whole Nurses Training College, it was agreed that these facilities will be handed back to the college once UHAS moved to its permanent site. But 14 years on, the facilities are still occupied and managed by UHAS. 5 persons have been arrested by the National Security in connection with the manufacturing and distribution of fake DV number plates across the country. The arrests were carried out in a joint operation between the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, and National Security. The suspects were picked up at La Paz, Naman in Accra, as well as Takwa and Kumasi, following intelligence linking them to the illegal production and circulation of these plates. According to the DVLA, the suspects have since been put before court and remanded into custody. Finally, the ruling National Democratic Congress's Baba Jamal Ahmed has officially been sworn in as the Member of Parliament for Ayawaso East constituency after winning the recent by-election in the constituency. And the swearing-in ceremony took place earlier today in Parliament, where the oath of office was administered by the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin. Now, Baba Jamal's re-entry into Parliament follows a by-election conducted in the Ayawaso East constituency following the demise of the former MP Muhammad Nasir Toure in that constituency. And that'll be it for the news summary here on 3FM. I am Christabel. Success Trevor. Martin, over to you.
Thank you, Christabel. Let's settle for the details of our stories now. And we're starting from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. That is Kise Jabengna. He has dropped the charges against one of the directors of KEL Logistics, Albert Ankra, after the 4th accused agreed to testify as prosecution witness in the ongoing criminal case against former NPA boss that is Mustafa Hamid and 9 others. Lord Asiedu-Dartey has been in court. Now, the accused persons have been charged with multiple offences, including stealing, extortion, and money laundering in an alleged corruption case involving over 291 million Ghana cedis and $300,000 at the National Petroleum Authority. They have all pleaded not guilty and are currently on bail. And in court on Tuesday, the 10th of March, Principal Prosecutor with the Office of the Special Prosecutor, Adelaide Kubri-Wood, informed the court that following discussions with Albert Ankra, the fourth accused in the matter, and his lawyers, the prosecution has withdrawn the charges against him and will proceed with him as a witness. Let's listen exactly to this report put together by Lord Asiedu-Dartey.
The accused persons have been charged with multiple offences including stealing, extortion and money laundering in an alleged corruption case involving over 291 million Ghana cedis and over $300,000 at the National Petroleum Authority. They have all pleaded not guilty and are currently out on bail. In court on Tuesday, March 10, Principal Prosecutor with the Office of the Special Prosecutor, Adelaide Kubri-Wood, informed the court that following discussions with Albert Ankra, the fourth accused in the matter, and his lawyer, the prosecution has withdrawn the charges against him and will proceed with him as a witness. The principal prosecutor further requested time to file a fresh charge sheet, noting that the development will change the prosecution's approach. Joseph Pemka, lead counsel for the former NPA CEO Mustafa Abdul-Hamid, indicated that the prosecution had amended the charge sheet on multiple occasions and therefore prayed the court to issue orders requiring the prosecution to expedite the process. Justice Francis Apongabuno Achibonga then adjourned the case to March 24 to allow the prosecution to file an amended charge sheet. According to the facts of the case, Dr. Abdul-Hamid and 2 officials of the National Petroleum Authority, Jacob Kwamina Amwa, a coordinator of the Unified Petroleum Pricing Fund, and Wendy Newman, a staff member of the authority, allegedly conspired to extort over 291 million Ghana cedis and more than $300,000 from bulk oil transporters and oil marketing companies between 2022 and December 2024.
And that report was put together by Lord Asiedu-Dartey, who is our court correspondent, giving us an update on this particular issue. And also, we know that the special prosecutor has also just posted on Facebook, and we're going to read portions of it and then engage Martin Asiedu, who is a private legal practitioner. So what the OSP has put out on Facebook says that the Republic versus Mustafa Hamid and 9 others. Today in court, the prosecution announced that the fourth accused has approached the office expressing willingness to serve as a prosecution witness. The office is currently considering his request. The former chief executive officer of the National Petroleum Authority, Dr. Mustafa Abdul-Hamid, along with 9 co-accused, including senior officials and associated companies, are standing trial on 54 criminal counts, including extortion, abuse of public office, and money laundering. The scheme involves more than 291 million Ghana cedis and significant amounts in foreign currency collected from oil marketing companies and bulk transporters between 2022 and 2024. So those are the words that were posted by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Martin Asiedu is a private legal practitioner. He's joined us for a quick chat on this. Mr. Asiedu, good evening. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, good evening, Dave.
Right. What would your initial thoughts be on this, that following the fact that the OSP has gone to court on the subject of Mustafa Hamid and 9 others, the fourth accused, according to the OSP, approached the office of the OSP saying that he wants to be a prosecution witness. What do you make of this development?
Well, that's a huge step forward. Very huge, because a person who was once charged with an offense now wants to testify for the state. That on its face is an indication that he believes in the case of the state. Of course, he has saved his own skin, and it will be subject to cross-examination. But generally, once somebody says he wants to testify for the state, when investigations initially showed that he was part of the whole deal, and so he should be held accountable. And then today that person says, oh, I want to spill the beans. You say, so let's get this. Let's put it in another way. Before the state put him on the stand, or before the state charged him, they did investigations. The OSP thought that there was a case against him. Okay, he's linked to the offense. So if today he himself now sees the need, of course, first to save his own skin, and two, to come and say things that would nail the other persons, then that's a huge step forward. It's not a joke. Because it will open a lot of insight, because it means that this is somebody who was part of them, he was working with them, and so now he's coming to say the story from the inside. He's an insider, now coming to make the work easier for the OSC. So no matter which way you look at it, it's good for the state. You see, you can't prosecute every accused person. Sometimes it makes sense to let some go so that you can catch others. Like in English, what they say, throw a sprat to catch a mackerel. Throw a sprat to catch a mackerel. Or in other words, you see the small fishes. Sometimes you use them as bait so that you can catch the big fish.
Right.
It's common sense. It's good. It's good for
in the right direction.
the state. Yes. Okay. And look, let's not be fooled. If it is the case that he did it just to come and let's use ordinary words, come and tell lies, that too he will be subject to what? Perjury. And all those things. So there are safeguards within the law. So I know for those who be thinking that what if he's just doing it just to come and give useless evidence? No. I think that even before the OSP made the decision to accept his offer, they would have considered that what he's telling them is weighty enough for them to let him off so that they can catch the other people. Like I said, you throw a sprat to catch a mackerel, or you use bait to catch bigger fishes. It's common sense. Let's go. For now, I don't see anything to say, no, the OSC shouldn't do that. It doesn't make sense. No.
Right. And clearly it ties in to your stance you've always held that if we would be able to get some of the monies from all these accused persons, not necessarily in this case, but in every case, if you can get the money back, it is better than going through the process and putting the person behind bars, probably forfeiting the money. So this more or less buttresses that point, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. You've read me right, Neil. Trust me. I'm happy you see it that way. Every case, I'm not looking at color. As soon as I see that money will return to the state, I'm for it. Yes, I know those of our compatriots who say, oh, it's not enough accountability, the person must go to Nsawam. No, we can't. There's no space. There's not enough space to contain every accused person in Nsawam. No. So some of them, let's concentrate on collecting the money. Yes, you know, when you collect money, it's not free. It also goes to the stigma, because the point to be that money, why were you hiding it? Who gave it to you? Was it your salary? It's not your salary. You took it wrongly. That's why you've returned it. Because if it was your salary or your rent allowance or your entertainment allowance, you didn't have returned it. You see? So there's always stigma with the return of money. So it's not always about people going to jail. No. Let's recover as much as possible. Yes, someday when we are better off, when we have next to no schools under trees, when we don't have no bed syndrome, etc., then when people say you want wrongdoers to go to jail, that one, yes, I'll be with you. But right now we have too many needs to rather prioritize jail at the expense of schools under trees, at the expense of no hospital bed syndrome, etc.
Right. And maybe finally, so what then should the strategy be if all accused persons, we've heard the Attorney General say that there have been times he has declined people who have come in with this same proposition that they want to be prosecution witnesses. but weighing probably how much weight they carry in the case, he has declined some of them. If the accused, if the prosecutor, in this case the OSP or the Attorney General, decides to consider people who want to be prosecution witnesses, is it totally left to the discretion of the Attorney General or the prosecutor, I should say, that will use you as prosecution witness, probably get the money that we have lost and let you go free, or the law states clearly that irrespective of this, there should still be some sanctions because you perpetrated an illegality?
Okay, good. Name. So this is a full lecture. Let's see how we can summarize. Number one, yes, when you look at the plea bargaining law, the last part of your question saying that, yes, does the law make it expressly clear, etc. The plea bargaining law is when you want to plea bargain. That's to say you've been charged with, let's say, 3 offenses, even sometimes 1 offense, but let's say it's so heavy that you want to come and confess to a smaller offense. Yes, those ones, the law gives the judge the ultimate power to agree or not to agree. Okay? So that is the essence of plea bargaining. That means that the state still wants to hold you accountable by way of finding you guilty of an offense. You see, when we use the word accountability, in the first place, let's be clear that it's not only for jailing people. No, when you return money, it's also accountability. It means that our money was in your pocket and now we've succeeded in getting it out of your pocket. So we've held you accountable, and also it has brought the stigma, naming and shaming, etc. So that's also accountability, right? And even this radio program we are doing, it's also accountability, because we would have mentioned the name of the person, etc. Because you see, the Constitution says that the media must hold the state, etc., accountable. So accountability is a very wide term. It's not only for jail terms.
Right.
So I'm saying that, yes, there's a part where the judge controls. That is, if you still want to keep the person as an accused person, but you want to reduce the enormity of his charge, maybe, let's say, he's been charged with, let's say, stealing. It's a second-degree felony, right? Then he will say, oh, I cannot, I don't want to plead guilty to stealing. No, that one, I won't do it. I mean, like, not I won't do it, of course, it's a negotiation. But rather, I want to, plead guilty to, what do you call it, dishonestly receiving, etc. Okay. So there are smaller charges. So those are the ones the judge has a control over. But now I'm moving to a different area. But as for totally withdrawing the person from the charge sheet, as has been done in this case, the 4th accused has been withdrawn from the charge sheet. What's his name again? He's been taken off Care Logistics,
yes,
right?
Yes, Albert Ankra.
What Ankra?
Albert Ankra.
Very good. So, but in this case, the prosecution is removing Albert Ankra's name from the charge sheet. So he will no longer stand as an accused person. That one, generally, the judge doesn't control it. Generally. There are some exceptions where the judge will protest, yes. But when I mean generally is that unless there's something very glaring where it offends the judge who is also there for us, there for the state, then the judge will say, no, what you are doing. When the prosecution says we are taking somebody off, he's no longer accused, but he's coming to testify for us. Generally, the judge doesn't interfere. So in this case, that's what happened, that they are taking him off as an accused person. And so generally, the judge doesn't interfere. But his powers are more when it comes to the plea bargaining. You've gone to do an agreement, and you are bringing to him to rubber stamp. When he reads it, that's to say the person will be found guilty, but now he will have lesser charges, maybe, and a lower sentence, etc. That is where the judge has more power and can look into the agreement and tell you that, no, this agreement, he doesn't agree.
Okay.
So there's a difference between removing an accused person as an accused. He's no longer accused. He's a witness, where the judge doesn't use a court, where he wants his charges reduced, etc., where the judge has greater control.
Okay. Wow, yes, it clearly is a full lecture, and thank you for bringing these perspectives to the conversation as always. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that is Martin Pebu, who is a private legal practitioner, helping us get a better understanding of what the plea bargaining means and the fact that the OSP has decided to agree. What they posted on Facebook says that they are still considering the offer made to the Office of the Special Prosecutor by the fourth accused person, who is the Director of KEL Logistics Limited, Albert Ankra. So the OSP is saying that Albert Ankra came to the OSP and said that, well, yes, I am part of the 9 others that you are prosecuting in the NPA case where the CEO, Mustafa Hamid, is accused with 9 others. I'm part of that that process. However, I want to plead to be a prosecution witness. So use me as a witness, and then maybe there'll be the consideration, like Martin Pebu said, there'll be the consideration of a total drop of the case, or he will be put aside to help with the investigation and prosecution of the case. And then as to whether he will be let off the hook completely or he would be made to pay a lesser fine, that is if he is found guilty, is all left to the discretion of the prosecutor and the judge in the case. So trust your most trusted news source, 3FM 92.7, and all our sister stations, that is the TV3 and related affiliate stations, to update you on what this case will finally look like when they return to court. This is still 3FM 92.7. You're listening to Hot Edition. My name is Martin Asiedu-Dartey. We're staying in the court, though, because the Accra High Court has set Monday, the 16th of March, to decide the fate of NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Ntwibo-Esiakun. Many of you will know him as Chairman Wontumi, regarding allegations that Chairman Wontumi permitted mining on his Summer Boy concession without authorization. Lawyers of the owner of Akunta Mining Limited filed a submission of no case on the 18th of February 2026, urging the court to dismiss charges against Chairman Wontumi. Lord Eduasari reports from the court on this particular subject.
In court on Tuesday, March 10, Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Stremsai prayed the High Court to dismiss the arguments by lawyers of NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Ntwibo-Esiakun, popularly referred to as Chairman Wontumi, regarding the submission of no case. Dr. Stremsai argued that in various instances, prosecution witnesses had proved that the accused permitted mining on his concession without authorization, among other allegations. Lead counsel for Chairman Wontumi, Andy Apiakubi, then requested leave of the court to file additional submissions, but was opposed by the Deputy Attorney General, who argued that the request was not grounded in law. He explained that lawyer Andy Apiakubi had misconstrued the law, maintaining that the court was not mandated to take submissions from both parties before its ruling. Presiding Judge Audrey Kokuvute noted that arguments from legal representatives merely assisted the court, but the court could make its decision without relying on them. The court then adjourned the ruling on the submission of no case to March 16. If the submission of no case is upheld, the NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman will be discharged. However, if the court rules that a prima facie case has been established against Chairman Wontumi, he will be ordered to open his defense and answer the charges. Lawyer Andy Apiakubi shared his sentiments after the proceedings.
That will be the date for the ruling of our submission of no case. If it is upheld, then that will be the end of the charge. If the judge thinks that we have to open our defense, then we will make that statement also to us. Then we'll begin our case also by opening our defense. And I'm very hopeful that based on the submissions made and looking at the evidence before the court, I'm hopeful that the judge will have to uphold our submission in the case. If it is not upheld, it means that we open our defense. So we are at the crossroads where the judge will have to make that determination whether prosecution has been able to establish a prima facie case for us to open our defense. This is where we are.
NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Ntwibo-Esiakun, together with his company Akunta Mining and a director, Kwame Entry, are facing illegal mining charges, including assigning mineral rights without approval and purposely facilitating an unlicensed mining operation at Samra Boy in the Western region. Lord Idwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
And we shift our attention to the presidency, and President John Dramani Mahama has imposed an immediate ban on international state-funded travel for boards of state-owned enterprises and public institutions to curb government expenditure. The directive covers training, conferences and retreats, demanding they use local agencies instead, with exemptions requiring direct presidential approval. According to the directive dated the 5th of March 2026, the President's attention had been drawn to a growing trend of international travel by boards of public institutions. While acknowledging the value of professional exposure and continuous learning, the government said that the increasing frequency and cost of such trips had raised concerns. But a lot of tongues have been wagging regarding this directive. Let's speak to Professor Bafo Ajimenduya, who is a governance expert. He's joined us for this conversation. Prof, pleasant evening to you. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
What would your initial thoughts be about this? This is a government that has, right from the onset, said that they are going to try to, quote-unquote, protect the public purse. However, over the years, we've seen some of these state-owned institutions undertake such travel and justified it with the fact that they needed those kinds of exposures. They also are meeting other international partners, etc. And so it is in the right direction that they are taking these steps. Government has stepped in to say that none of such should continue. If you necessarily must go, you need express permission. A lot of issues happening here. How does this sit with you?
Well, I believe that this must be part of the broader picture of the president seeking to introduce fiscal discipline in the management of the resources of the country. And truly, travels by state officials is a part that really costly to the nation. So I see this perhaps as the first step he will be taking. If he ends there, he hasn't gone, it won't make any difference, by the way, because the boards of state institutions is referring to, I think there are about 15 or so, so it's not much. But of course, if we're able to stop that, it helps. But let me tell you something. Expenditures by state institutions on travel across board takes a huge chunk of our national budget. Oftentimes, these are written into certain programs, so we don't see the actual line budget for travel, but it's a lot. And so, some years back, if you recall, there was a president who emerged in Tanzania called Magufuli.
Yes.
He readily said that cost to the nation, travel alone, was taking about 25 to 30% of the national budget, and therefore decided that he himself, as president, will not even attend United Nations General Assembly meetings, because when the president travels, the president travel in style, maybe 20, 30 people following them. He said he will not even go to talking shops like the AU summits and start his minister. A minister who has traveled abroad, he has to look at the purpose, and if it was not relevant, he will stop that kind of strike. So in the end, within 4 years, he was able to save Tanzania a lot of money, and they never took a penny from external sources in terms of loans to do any project. Yet, he did the greatest infrastructure work in his country in the 4 years that he was president. So this is to illustrate that, look, the way and manner public officials use public money to travel, oftentimes for no real reason. You see, look, if you hold a position, either ministerial or any of these other positions, you're going to get invitations from all over the world, all the time. Even me, with that little job I did, I was receiving invitations. And most of the invitations, I can tell you, are trash. It means nothing to the work you do. The public officials take advantage of that and decide to embark on travel. Look, talking about going out for training. If you appointed a member of a board of an institution, the assumption is that you have enough exposure, you have enough experience, you've seen many things, and your experiences are relevant to the position. That's why they are appointed. So you don't get appointed as a member of the board for you to travel outside to have a training. What is that? I mean, it doesn't make sense. So those who join boards, of course, if any president decides to appoint incompetent people, unqualified people to be on the board, then, of course, this so-called training becomes important. But even then, training can be organized locally. But see, for the Ghanaian culture, if you take a flight out and come back, it's an achievement. And everybody thinks flying on the plane is such a luxurious thing they need to have.
Yeah.
But it's a waste of money. So I can appreciate the president's decision on the members of board of governors for state institutions. But I'm saying it may be a small step he has taken.
Right.
If he's serious to stem the unnecessary, cost that we incur, then I think he should expand it to other public officials.
Right, and that actually dovetails into my next question, which is, how do we monitor some of these directives? So, yes, the public is aware, but the public may not necessarily know of which board members or which group of leaders of state agencies are traveling where. So what mechanisms or strategies can be rolled out to at least monitor and ensure that the directive is followed to the letter?
If this decision by the president is a presidential directive, then within the system, there's a way to ensure the implementation or enforcement of the directive. First, the CEO of these institutions must be first responsible for ensuring the enforcement. And if he is not, then of course within the system, ultimately you look at the chief of staff of the president as one supervising these kind of things. But I think it should be made a public policy, announced publicly, and all the details shared with the public. Because at times, we hear such directives given by presidents, and after they give it, nothing happens. People still do what they do, because there's no attempt on anybody's part to enforce these directives. That's why I'm thinking that if the president is serious about fiscal prudence, which they've done so well, expenditure has been really maintained, of course, to the disadvantage of certain projects and all, but that has helped this government to be able to manage the economy in such a way that at least now everybody thinks things are getting better. But I'm saying this decision should be turned into a public policy, publicized, so the media can have copies of it. And if there's going to be any troubles, there should be someone who should authorize it. But the point I'm making is that it is important to determine what kind of conference or training or wherever you're going. Because as I keep saying, most of these things public officials go abroad to do don't mean much. They can easily be done here. At worst, you can invite the one or two experts from wherever you want to go to come down, organize the training, so all members can have can take advantage of such a training. But to just pick 2, 3, 4 people to go out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, wherever it is, and stay on the account of the public purse, I think is ridiculous. And the example of the late President Magufuli in Tanzania is something we should learn. And I'm telling you, within 4 years, before he passed away, this president has accomplished so many public projects, unbelievable, never, unprecedented in the history of Tanzania, all because he was able to save millions of dollars simply by stopping public officials from just going out to do whatever that they do that are strictly speaking not relevant at all.
Prof, it's always a pleasure listening to you, and thank you that you made time to speak to us.
Thank you too for having me.
And that's Professor Bafo Agyeman-Duah. He is a governance expert and also helping us put into better perspective this directive from the president. He sounds like he's in full support of it, and I'm sure many Ghanaians who are watchers of the public purse and the public space would also endorse this call by the president that we need to be accountable and check the way our resources are expended, especially for such travels. Your thoughts on this are also very welcome. Do let us know in the comment section. We are streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. This is 3FM 92.7. You're listening to Hot Edition, and it is live on air, so you can also be a part of the larger conversation. And so we've just moved on from the subject of protecting the public purse and staying on that particular component of how we can better protect the public purse. Well, Deputy Finance Minister has been giving some shocking numbers in Parliament, which has to do with how some monies would have been spent by the state had it not been for the extra vigilance of a few people. So the Ministry of Finance has raised concerns over irregular claims connected to projects under the previous government's One District, One Factory program. Government says it is bent on declaring an end to the deliberate plunder of the public purse after an Auditor General's report by Ernst & Young and PricewaterhouseCoopers report on arrears and payables as of the end of 2024. Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Nyarko Ampim, presenting the statement on behalf of the Finance Minister, revealed an amount of 45.4 billion Ghana cedis out of 68.7 billion in claims submitted by contractors and suppliers had been validated for payment. A whopping 8.1 billion cedis has been rejected over unsupported documentation, duplication, and overstatements and falsified store receipts. The Speaker of Parliament has referred the statement to the Public Accounts Committee for a probe with a 3-week ultimatum. Let's listen to the conversations from Parliament on this.
Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Finance informed this August House during the media review of the 2025 budget of the ongoing audit of government arrears and commitments as at end 2024 and promised to submit same to this House when the process is completed. The Ghana Audit Service, working in partnership with EY and PwC, undertook an exercise to verify and validate a total of 68.7 billion Ghana cedis submitted to the Ministry of Finance in unpaid interim payment certificates, invoices, and bank transfer advices owed to contractors and suppliers. Out of this, outstanding IPCs and invoices amounted to 50.5 billion Ghana cedis, while outstanding bank transfer advices amounted to 18.3 billion Ghana cedis. Findings. Mr. Speaker, permit me to present some of the troubling findings of the audit. Out of the 68.7 billion Ghana cedis submitted for audit, a total of 45.4 billion Ghana cedis was deemed to be valid for payment. A total of 8.1 billion Ghana cedis was rejected for various reasons, including unsupported documentation, duplication, overstatement, already paid items, falsified stores receipt advice, and no work done. About 1 billion Ghana cedis of the outstanding BTAs, which refers to invoices and IPCs processed by MDAs in 2024, approved by Ministry of Finance, submitted to Controller and Accountant General's Department, and pending payment were rejected. Mr. Speaker, this 1 billion Ghana cedis that was rejected by the audit would have been paid if the Ministry of Finance had not made a bold decision to stop payment in January 2025. about 7.1 billion Ghana cedis of the outstanding IPCs and invoices, which refers to requests by MDAs for payments to suppliers and contractors, and certified for payment by various public officers across the approval hierarchies, have also been rejected. They were rejected for various reasons, including absence of supporting documents, duplications, recycled invoices and IPCs, overstatements, and no work done. Again, an amount of 13.3 billion Ghana cedis is yet to be validated for various reasons, including lack of third-party confirmation, inadequate documentation, and no supporting contracts. Mr. Speaker, fictitious debt of 89.4 million Ghana cedis. The then Ministry of Trade and Industry in 2024 submitted a request of 89.4 million Ghana cedis to the Ministry of Finance to be transferred to 5 commercial banks as government's contribution to interest payments under the One District, One Factory initiative.
And that is Thomas Nyako Ampem, who is Deputy Finance Minister. And a lot is unfolding regarding these claims that were made to the Ministry of Finance that they needed to pay. But according to the Deputy Finance Minister, due to critical investigation and diligence, they've been able to reject in excess of 7.1 billion Ghana cedis, which would have gone to people who, according to the Deputy Finance Minister, did not either have supporting documents or had duplicated documents, and in some cases had not even done the work at all, but were in line to have been paid these huge sums of money. We are waiting to see how the day unfolds and how the revelations will, the kinds of reactions it's going to be getting in Parliament especially, and would update you subsequently. This is 92.73 FM. You're listening to Hot Edition. Let's take you to that headline story, which is that more than 30,000 fake dealer vehicle licenses, or number plates, I should say. Many of you call it DV number plates, are on roads across the country, raising serious concerns about vehicle identification, insurance validity, and losses to state revenue. Authorities are now intensifying a nationwide crackdown on the criminal network behind the counterfeit plates. Stanley Nible, who has been interrogating this and has come through with his report.
The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, DVLA, says investigations conducted in collaboration with national security and the police have uncovered a criminal network responsible for circulating more than 30,000 counterfeit DV plates on Ghana's roads. Authorities estimate that the illegal trade is worth over 12.5 million cedis, based on the official cost of 417 cedis and 25 pesos per plate, while the state is believed to be losing close to 20 million cedis annually in revenue.
Our investigations reveal that over 30,000 fake DV plates have been illegally introduced into the system. This is not merely a regulatory breach. It is a criminal enterprise that threatens national security, undermines law enforcement, and deprives the state of legitimate revenue.
Director for Education, Research and Training at the Motor Traffic and Transport Department, MTTD, Chief Superintendent Alexander Kwekwa said, police officers have been deployed nationwide to inspect DV plates on vehicles.
We are building the capacity and then the intelligent eyes of our enforcement teams on our roads. The road traffic regulation mandates us to ensure that in traffic, nobody will bring on the road a forged plate on a vehicle. Such persons, their vehicle will be deemed to not have been registered, and therefore we can't own it. So such vehicles will be impounded and kept at various police stations.
According to the DVLA, the counterfeit operation runs through an organized distribution network.
Our investigations further revealed the operational structure of this network. Fake plates are manufactured at an undisclosed location. They are transported under the cover of darkness to a distribution hub in La Paz, Accra. From La Paz, the plates are packaged and distributed to other locations, including Kumasi and Takwa. More worrying is the fact that many of these fake plates are issued together with fake motor insurance documents.
Members of the public are also encouraged to report any suspected fake DV plate to the nearest DVLA office or police station.
And that's a report by Stanley Niblewu about some fake DV number plates in the system. And he's advising that, or the DVLA is advising that people pay particular attention and be sure that they work with the right dealership, or else they might find themselves in hot waters. Let's turn our attention to another very disturbing story, which is on mortuaries. The story says that the Mortuaries and Funeral Facilities Agency has shut down the mortuary at the Enchi Government Hospital and another private facility in the Western North region over regulatory breaches. Registrar of the agency, Francis Enin, together with his team, is currently undertaking a compliance exercise at mortuaries and funeral homes across the region. During the exercise, the mortuary at Enchi Government Hospital and Ijapa Funeral Home were temporarily closed after inspectors discovered several irregularities. Officials say that the facilities were closed down after the inspectors discovered some irregularities, and they say that the facilities were operating without proper registration, using air conditioners instead of approved compressors for body preservation, employing unregistered staff, and operating in an unconducive environment. The registrar, Francis Enin, has directed the operators to correct the lapses and comply with regulations before they can resume operations. He says that the exercise is not meant to collapse businesses, but to ensure proper standards and sanity within the funeral services sector. Let's engage the General Secretary of the General Mortuary Workers Association of Ghana, who is Richard Kofi Jordan. Mr. Kofi Jordan, good evening. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, but let me correct you. It is Mortuary Workers Association of Ghana, General Mortuary.
Okay, Mortuary Workers Association of Ghana.
And
right.
Yes, more.
Yeah. Right. So tell us about these irregularities that we are told that some of your members have, fallen short of, that they were operating without proper registration. Some of them were using air conditioners instead of approved compressors for body preservation, etc. Is the association aware of this? And now that some of your facilities have been closed, what do you make of this report?
I think that the regulator has come to support our claim that many of the mortuaries or facilities in Ghana were not fit for purpose. Remember, mortuary workers have always raised concerns about the nature and the environment in which we operate. We have stated clearly our positions over the years that many of the facilities in Ghana, as we speak, do not meet the standard for which they should be operating as mortuaries. So I think that it's a call in the right direction. I think I stand with the regulator. It is important that when you are operating a mortuary facility, you employ qualified staff. Why do you want to use air conditioning? Can air conditioning freeze a dead body?
Who authorizes or who gives permission for someone to start a mortuary business, for instance?
I think the mortuaries in question are both government and private. And so many of the mortuaries we have are owned by Ghana government. So in my opinion, it is government closing down government. And so, yes, for the registration or establishment of mortuaries, if you want to do it as a private person, you can decide to go through the registration process and establish a mortuary if you have the money. Government, for instance, at Kolebu has a mortuary. It belongs to Ghana government.
Okay.
So these are the two categories of people who can own mortuaries. Individuals can own mortuaries. Institutions can also own mortuaries. And then maybe some other societies can also own. Anybody at all in Ghana who has gone through the process of registration can become a mortuary owner.
Right.
But in the case of the Western North, they were having two employees who were employed by Ghana government. Kojo Opare and Elias Ome. They are all dead as we speak. Opare died last year. The senior who is supposed to be there today died last week. So you should expect that we've been talking about financial clearance for a long time, because we know that if you go to almost all the facilities, we are understaffed, and we needed workers to come and work. What should the management do? When it comes to issuance of clearance, it is a budget officer, it is the Minister of Finance who decides whether I have money to employ or not. In this case, the hands of management are tied. They can only get somebody around to operate under further notice. In the area of registration, there are about 4 registrations that you have to do to operate a mortuary. One is to be legally recognized by law, which is the Registrar General's Department. Another one is to go to EPA, which is the Environmental Protection Agency, to license or give you certification to indicate that the area you are setting up or the facility you are setting up will not have any environmental impact or influence the people around you.
Okay.
Another one is the locality in which you are going to set up the mortuary. For instance, the local government, which is district assembly. You have to also get clarification from there. The final one will be the mortuary and funeral facility, who is now the regulator.
Right.
So that is where they are. You are supposed to register with the regulator so that you are known as a mortuary owner, you are known as a cold storage owner, or you are known as funeral home owner. Okay. Otherwise, in the books of government, in the books of the regulator, you do not exist if you have not registered.
Right.
So I think that based on all these things put together, if the facility is at fault, for instance, the use of air conditioning, how do you use air conditioning to preserve dead bodies? I mean, this is beyond the doubt.
That's not
so
right.
If they think in the wisdom of the regulator, I think that NT government hospital or others have breached the laws and want to close down, so be it. Where I stand as a general secretary, this has always been my concern, that you have to make sure things are done properly.
Properly, yeah. It's certainly because of the health implications associated with the work.
For public health interest,
right.
We must all support it. Of course, it is not closed permanently. You are told that the bodies you have, or those who are already with
mean, like, these concerns you have raised are quite legitimate, and we support this call that things are done right. We would wait to see, now that they've been closed down, what, like you're saying, government closing down government, what government can do about this current development, so we can, because your job is very important to our existence as a people, so we hope that you get the necessary support to do your work well. We would have to leave it here for now. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
And that is Richard Kofi Jordan, the General Secretary of the Mortuary Workers Association of Ghana. This is 3FM 92.7. Time now for the latest in the world of sports. from the camp of the Black Stars with 93 days to go to the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Ghana's high-performance coach John Pencil says he expects a difficult game when Ghana faces England at the Mundial. Ghana would face the Three Lions in their second game of the tournament on June 23. Now, despite the only encounter between the two sides ending in a 1-1 draw, Pencil says he expects the team to pull through against England.
Playing in England, play against England is always the best. Especially even the friendly match we played in England some years back. It was beautiful. The crowd was, the colors, they believe the quality in Ghanaians, and the Ghanaians also believe the quality England has. So it's going to be beautiful, and it's not going to be just football. It's going to be more than football. And then for me, as a technical team, we are looking forward to it. It's always going to be crucial. We will say it's a local derby, although they are far from Africa, but I see it as a local derby. When it comes to local derby, the one who wants more can go for it. And I believe Ghana will know what we want, and we are not going to underrate anything during the competition. So it's going to be dog eat dog, but at the end of the day, I believe that we will take the day. I think, was it Clint Dempsey? I sent him a message, and then I said I was looking forward to meet you in my group, and he was just laughing. He said, but you are in England, so you are going to England, you play against Fulham. I said, no, this is not Fulham. This is English we are going to play against. So, I have that rapport with Clint Dempsey. During our time, he believed that he's African, he's not American. So that's why whenever he play aggressively and all. But like I said, there has been a lot of messages. Even our Ghanaian people who live in England always send me.
And so that was high-performance coach John Pencil speaking on the match between England and Ghana. However, we still stay with the Black Stars because General Manager of Media General Sports, Michael Otieje, believes Andrea Ayew will struggle to make Ghana's final squad for the 2026 World Cup. His comment comes in the wake of Ayew's first goal for NAC Breda, which has generated a lot of discussion on social media about the possible inclusion of the 36-year-old in the World Cup squad.
Otuado's decision not to call the day, it's not a footballing decision. Otuado, like Amy Jacquet did in the 1998 World Cup, has a right to make a non-footballing decision about who gets into his squad for the World Cup. You could also argue that this is partly a footballing decision because a coach can then decide that when I want pace, I want a certain level of play in my team, and I don't think this player, regardless of how well they are doing at club level, has that. Is the day are you doing so well at club level? It's relative. We've seen the numbers. But I have also said that he's not doing any worse than a lot of the players who have a claim to be in the national team. And I think ultimately from everything I know and from every background that I know, I think that we are moving towards a situation where Otuado simply does not want to have Dede Ayew in his team. It's been obvious for a very long time. It's been obvious from the first day he addressed the press conference. He struggled to put himself together when he was answering that question. It's been obvious in his call-outs. It's been obvious when he was scoring goals for Le Havre. And I have a feeling it will stay this particular way. All I hear when I hear the argument for why Dede should go to the World Cup is a sense that you need to take him to the World Cup as a sort of thank you gesture, as a sort of brilliant farewell. And I'm not sure even he would like that. He will make this an incredibly difficult decision for.
Now, finally, before we go, Kyle Walker has announced his retirement from the English national team after 96 caps for the Three Lions. Walker's England will take on Ghana, as mentioned earlier, in the World Cup later this year. My name is Ore Kwampafo, and that's how we wrap up the sports segment here on Hot Edition, and also that's how we wrap up Hot Edition for today. We'll be back again same time tomorrow with the latest news in Ghana, across the continent and the globe.